So welcome back to the Witness the Fitness podcast. Really excited today because I've got you a guest speaker. Some of you may know this person, some of you won't. Those that do, he'll need no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him for those that don't know him. I've got my good friend Baz Wakelin is coming, trainer, to show his expertise. And between us, we've had, how long have you been in the industry, Baz?
Oh, man. It's been, I guess if I say in the industry, technically I'd say 2006. I started off as gym instructor, etc. But then self-employed PT into business owner 2010 onwards. So quite a lot, I suppose.
So we're looking at about, 15 to 20-ish years?
Yeah.
I've been in the industry about 20-ish years. So between us...
Yeah.
I'm
sure we can put a conversation together and see if we can...
And we're going to put the worlds to rights.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to initially start with just finding out a bit about Baz in terms of what got him into fitness, where he's at, and a whole host of different questions. Really, the starting point, Baz, is what inspired you to become get into fitness? How did you get into being a coach?
Do you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, and I can't actually pinpoint it. I don't know if it's because it's been so long now, but because I've all my life, even as a child, I've trained on some degree level or whatever, starting with martial arts, into boxing, into general weight training, etc. I've always done something. And then I think like most people, you kind of progress into that guy in the gym who knows a few things.
So going back to the boxing and the martial arts, at what age did you get into that?
So martial arts was 9 all the way up to 16.
Amazing.
And then from 16, so I was competing with that as well. So that's Taekwondo. And then from there it was boxing. So I wanted something a bit more kind of, I guess I was just at a point where I wanted to do something different. I was always a boxing fan. I loved it. So that was 17. Then at the same, I kind of went out of it for a little bit and just started doing general training. So weight training, I guess. Yeah, I suppose bodybuilding really. That kind of training, I wouldn't class myself as that, but that kind of training, back into boxing, then into where we are now really. It got to a point where, why am I not doing this as a job sort of thing? Yeah. And that's where, so yeah, sort of early to mid 20s onwards, I was kind of doing it as some level or another as a job.
I always think that sport is a huge transition because when you speak to people, not all of them, but I'm similar. I started playing football as a young kid, and the longer and longer I played it, they realised that I need to be physically fit, and you ended up in a gym. At some point. So I don't know, is there a lesson there for kind of parents and kids, kind of just get your kids into some sport because you're hoping it when it clicks over that it hopefully transitions to not necessarily working in the fitness industry.
It does, I mean. You can't do something physical and it not almost transition into something like that. You kind of, with every sport that you do, you realise the importance of being strong. You realise the importance of being fit. Yeah. You can accomplish a lot of those things in a gym away from your chosen sport. It creates discipline. It creates consistency, which I'll probably repeat that word so many times throughout this conversation, but very
we have done over the last 20 years.
That could be very important. I think it, to be honest with you, I got to a point where I should have done it early. It just naturally evolved into, why am I not doing this as a job? I was doing it part-time with a job that I didn't like. So then eventually it became full-time. Just started off right at the bottom, gym instructor, taking classes, progressing, getting my level 3 qualification, and it's just progressed from there really. Getting all the additional little qualifications on the side of that, trying to stay relevant within that as well, catching up. So many things change. Again, we'll go through that later on as well, I'm sure. Well, the changes in all that time, because I've seen some, I tell you.
So what would you say, you're talking about change, what would you say your motivation for being a fitness coach has changed over time? Because mine has, in various ways. Who I am now as a coach versus who I was, let's say, when I first started out, miles apart, absolute miles apart. And just motivation around being a fitness coach. If I was honest, when I first started, it was just like, I'm a coach, I help people. Where now that's really gone up a level, and I'm like, no, I can really help people, and in more ways than I first kind of initially thought about when I first started training. So how do you think that's evolved for you?
I don't know. I think the evolution of your own sort of career, when you look back on it, I suppose at first it was a case of yeah, well, why am I not doing this as a job? So you end up just doing, you end up taking clients on. It just, I don't know, it just, I guess almost quite robotic really. You're just recreating what you do and what you love. So like you say, how's it changed over the years and how's it evolved? I suppose my outlook on fitness has changed a lot. My training now is completely different. I guess the way I communicate is completely different. And these are all the things that I've had to learn along the way, making mistakes.
Yep.
And I think communication's massive. If you can't communicate with people, then it's hard to coach people, especially in a group environment or a one-to-one environment. You certainly learn on the job about what works and what doesn't work in terms of communication. I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent here or answering the question at all. But
no, that kind of bleeds into my next point, really. It's about style.
Yeah.
Because
that's changed.
Yeah, I mean, talking about different people, different backgrounds, different ages, all this and that and the other. One thing I see within myself is I will slightly change my style. I'm always fairly direct.
Yeah.
But I'll be subtle with some people and really not subtle with others, and I can't really put my finger on like who and why I do it that way. I just vibe off it. Do you kind of get the same? What's your kind of style like when it comes to communicating with different people? I
think that's exactly the same. I was actually thinking about that on the way over. So for example, I'll have a client who's, I don't know, really quiet sort of thing, quite mild mannered maybe. Then you'll have someone who isn't out of place down a local pub, quite loud, quite, do you know what I mean? That sort of person. You've got to adapt to both. You can't really be the same with both. I can't be loud with the quiet person and quiet with the loud person. Doesn't mean I have to change who I am.
No.
But certainly conversations are different. You've got to flow with it. But at the same time, make sure they're still working. You're still getting your point across as a coach, and that they're getting the best possible service. So to try and inspire so many different ranges of people, I kind of love that.
Yeah.
So I think naturally, by nature, especially as a child, I was very quiet myself, quite introverted. Never really, I was always at the back of the class, never put my hand up. So to go from that to then having to communicate with people, you've got to be, like you say, you've got to be direct with some people, not so direct with others. You've got to learn to talk. You've got to learn to get your point across. And it's all right saying you've just got to do it, but for some people it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And it really is a step-by-step process. If you're good at coaching, if you know what you're doing, that will come across no matter what. However, the different approach with people, you won't know until you do it. You'll vibe off someone and you'll go, okay, this doesn't work. That doesn't work, and you just change.
I really connected what you've said about being introverted, and I'd be interested to see what you kind of feel with this.
Yeah,
that
sure.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you get a lot of people going or thinking that you're quite extrovert?
Yeah, because everyone does.
I get that a lot, and I think some people, when they get to know me like more on a personal level, I can get
that as well with me.
I can get her like,
know me, they know I'm
are you all right? You're really quiet. I'm like, no, this is me. I'm not all,
generally what you are.
I'm not saying when I'm, instructing and coaching, that is a version of me.
Yeah.
But it's only part, and it's actually that extroverted part of me is actually quite small. I can just tap into it. So do you kind of get the same with you saying that you feel like you are more introverted?
Hey, I don't think I can add to that. I'm exactly the same. So for example, if I'm stood in front of a whole class of people, and say for example I'm doing a workshop, I'm Mr. Confident Baz who knows what he's talking about. And, you know what I mean? But inside, I think inside you'll always be who you naturally are. So inside, I'm always that shy little child, really. But you become, I think we all become actors, and I love that. I love acting anyway, but I love the fact that we can just become something else. Yep. So you become that part for a while. You become, I'm Mr. Coach, I'm Mr. Mentor, or whatever it might be. And if you think about it in life, whether you're talking to you're talking to an employee, you're talking to your partner, your boss, we change personalities all the time anyway. We just do that in life.
Yeah.
But to be able to do that, with things like this, with coaching, you don't know until you do it, and then you just learn. If you're someone who's willing to adapt, and one saying I can't stand, and it's what you see is what you get. Don't be what people see is what they get. All right, be flexible, because there's so much more to you than just what people see.
There's on top of that, I had this. I can't remember who said it. I had this comment where someone kind of went, "It's just the way I am," and they was being rude and stuff like
just
that.
The way I am. That's
and
I
always get like, be fucking different.
We should do that. We should have like a section of
be different.
Sayings I hate.
Don't be a knob.
Don't be a knob.
It's just who I am.
That's one of my things on my core values is don't be a dick. That's it. If you're a dick, you're not going to train with me. Unfortunately, you're not going to be in the gym.
But you see that with some people's, and it's a bit of a poor mindset. You know, it's I'm just a smoker. It's who I am.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, no, just
you don't have to be that. You've got the power to change that if you want to, obviously.
If you want to.
But if you're succumbing to that and you're just saying that's what I am, you're just saying I don't want to change.
Yes.
I don't. If you don't want to, then in a way I almost admire that. It's like, cool, you know what you want and you don't want that.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, the only thing I'd add to that is I've got no qualms with anyone that kind of don't want to live, we'll just say, a healthier lifestyle the way I view it.
Yeah.
But one thing I absolutely hate is when people go, I hate the way I am and I need to get fitter and healthier, but I don't want to change that or that.
Yeah.
Because I love that and that's who I am. And
what do you want?
What are you talking about? That makes no sense in my head.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I'm really practical.
But again, I suppose that if you're that way minded, it's like if you're the type of person who can adapt to situations, you can adapt to certain people, to certain environments, to certain jobs to a degree, and if you can swap and change and mold yourself into that without it like changing your identity too much, I don't lose who I am. I'm still exactly the same person. I'll probably just talk a bit more, or be a bit like now. Really, I've not shut up, but I guess later on I'll be very quiet. But that's again, I've had to learn that.
I think I've had someone comment before. Is it like you kind of acting then? Like, and I'm like, not the way you.
Yeah, I'm not fake.
Yes,
at all.
Yeah,
I'm not fake in the slightest. I'm still myself.
Yeah,
and I'll view my views just like I would do as an introvert. I hate the word introvert. All introvert means is that I get my energy comes from solitude.
I do.
An extrovert's energy comes from being in a crowd. That is it. You don't. Introvert doesn't mean you're shy, although I was or am, I guess. But I guess that's something that people have to sort of get across as well. That being introvert doesn't make you shy, doesn't make you quiet, doesn't make you painfully quiet or shy.
I just see it as a fact that my introvertness, that I have to charge myself in solitude
on your own,
to then go into battle with a group of people. And I say battle because being on my own requires less energy than being in the group. And you'll get some people where they get charged by the group.
You can see it.
You know, I get inspired, and I mean, some people's journeys in the group inspire me, but that's not the same thing. I just need time on my own sometimes just to kind of decompress.
Yeah, and that's exactly me.
It's all fine.
That's why. Yeah, there's quite a few things I sort of do on my own in terms of training as well. I don't mind training on my own. I've got into biking now. That's out on my own, fresh air. Again, just with my thoughts. So but again, I love the fact that I can exercise my let's call it fake extrovert side to me. I suppose. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not painfully introvert to the point where.
It might just
I don't want to leave the house or whatever.
It might just go back to the point what we made before, where you're not that good at it, and actually I'm going to work on it.
Yes,
and
I've done that.
You've done that over 20 years.
Absolutely, yeah. I've had to, and I've enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. Human psychology fascinates me.
Mate, I'm always reading it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Behaviour change, mindsets. People think I'm a weirdo sometimes, but I find it.
If you look at all my books at the gym, they're all psychology, philosophy. I love learning about society, so like social studies, social science. I'm fascinated how people act in groups, which for me and you, that's perfect. How people change in groups. There's so many, and I love it, and I get to exercise what I learn in that environment. So I'm lucky in that respect.
I mean, the more and more I read about it, I always come away, and it sounds really sad, but we're a little bit like robots. Like,
yes.
As soon as we're set on a path.
Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah.
But pretty much most of the time, an individual will do X, Y, and Z, and they're on this path, and they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and it's what all these businesses do to sell products. And every time I read it, it just blows my mind, because obviously a lot of the time, the first thing you realise, oh my God, I do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I do that a lot. Right, I need to stop that because I know that behaviour leads to that, and I need to interject.
Well, you look at marketing. Marketing's based on sort of your behaviour and your psychology, and as we are to a massive degree, as a society, I suppose. They tap into things that we all do as a whole, as a group, to sell things, you know. So, and obviously we're trying to sell our services as well. So we all do it to a degree. We try and sell ourselves when we try and get into a relationship. We all try and do it to some kind of.
It is a kind of.
You meet someone, you've got to sell yourself. You know,
it's a give and take, isn't it? I can offer this. What are you offering?
Yeah, exactly.
And some people hate to hear that, but life is a negotiation, isn't it?
Exactly that. You've got to be truthful.
It's just different elements of it. I want to come back to a point we were talking about. It was a bit like challenging clients. Talking about that. Some clients are harder than others, maybe from a mindset point of view. And I generally want you to try and recall a moment that you've maybe had a challenging client or an experience and it's taught you like a really valuable lesson, or you've kind of got most out of.
Yeah.
So a client you've stumbled across that's good, bad, ugly, that's taught you a valuable lesson because of their challenge that they brought. Anything spring to mind?
Yeah, I was trying to think over so long. I mean, one that kind of jumped out, and this was something that. It made me go away and go, yeah, Baz, you were wrong there, mate. Yeah, and you kind of learn from it. And that was just someone who was quite challenged in the respect that she was so nervous about joining the gym. So that was a challenge, just getting to the gym. She had weight to lose, bless her. Doesn't enjoy exercise either. So these were all challenges, and I was well up for that. But it was just. It made me realise at the time, and we're going back, so what we're now 24, we're probably going back about 14 years ago. So probably around the time I first knew you, actually, about 2010, 2011 with this client. And it just made me realise that at the time I didn't listen enough, and you need to listen. Yeah. So people will tell you everything if you ask the right questions and shut up and listen. And there's this particular person, I wasn't listening to what she was almost unconsciously telling me, I suppose, in a way. And yeah, there was a time where she was telling me what she had to eat, and I think I always had this thing where I had to kind of have an answer for everything. You don't have to have an answer for everything. You don't know everything, but none of us do. And I think I was telling her, well, what did you eat today? And she oh, why did you have that? Why didn't you change that for that? But that thing that she had was actually okay. Didn't need an answer. I didn't need to change anything. That was fine. That was actually quite. I think it was something like dried fruit or something. And I said something. I'm thinking
sugar
about
content. You could have
that's
picked better.
Exactly what it was.
Blah,
yeah, because I guess try not to have too much of it because of the citrus. It's bullshit. What she did was fine. And then she got upset because I said that. And I went back and I reflected on it and I apologised to her the next time. And from that moment on. It was a big lesson, and I still use that now. Just listen, and it was it was a case of listening to her, and not having to have an answer for everything. So, like for example, this is one that you'll get a lot of the time is when someone first joins, go, I want to lose weight and tone. So in my head, you're rolling your eyes in your head. Obviously, you never do it in front of someone. You're rolling your eyes. You go, oh, for fuck's sake, I've got to go through that now. But do you know what? Go with it. I go with it now. I go, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
That for me is just their terminology.
Yeah.
And we know from our perspective, I always use the word toned when they use it.
Yeah.
Because it is distinct to them. I do not need to kind of go for a post of like, oh, toning's not a thing. And it's like, they don't need that. So I'll always kind of reframe it. Yeah. So let's say they do bring up toning or whatever. I was kind of, the way I see that is we want to build a little bit of muscle mass. We want that coming through so you can see your physique. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like you. Everything that you've just said, I think every single coach has to go through.
Yeah.
Because I had a point, especially when I was younger, where I'd be like, Pete, you're meant to be the expert. You're meant to have the answers. Give them it.
Yeah.
And over the time, and you've got a distinct point. I can't tell you when mine happened, but all I do now, and it's evolved, I've changed this, is I will just ask questions and guide and mentor. So let's say they have something that I would probably consider like, that could have been a better choice.
Yeah.
Instead of kind of going always, that could have been a better choice. That I may say that, depending on the context, but I'll end up kind of going, well, how was your energy like after that? How did you feel? Was you full?
Interesting.
Did it work for you? How was your digestion?
Yeah.
And we may get to kind of go, we need a better choice.
Yeah.
Or it might be kind of going, yeah, it's fine, don't worry.
Yeah.
On to the next meal.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I look back, I used to be the coach when I was a lot younger that would kind of go, no, that and that and that. And I hope now I'll still have an element of that, because some people just need telling.
Yeah.
They ain't going to find it on their own, but I think
different personalities again respond to different communication.
I think to be really successful, to help people change their behaviour, they need to find it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help them search.
You've just nailed it there, because that's exactly what it was with this particular point. So when someone says, for example, lose weight and tone, now I'm at a point where I just think, just go with it.
Yep.
Take them on as a member or a client, and then over time they're going to come to that conclusion themselves, without me having to like be the cocky coach who knows everything. Well, actually, you don't tone. You're actually building muscle. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to like patronise them and condescend them. They'll come to that conclusion themselves over the natural course of time of me communicating with them witnessing what they're doing, like lifting heavy weights, but they're in a calorie deficit, but they're lifting heavy weights, but they're not putting muscle. But they go, oh, this is weird, and they'll come to that conclusion themselves. And that's kind of what I've tried to do now. So rather than always having the answer, just go with their, like you said, go with that's how they know it. That's how they know that term. Their term is that. They kind of know what they mean, even though we don't like it. We know what they mean as well.
Yes.
Which is exactly we know exactly what they mean.
Which is why the trainer doesn't need to, because you see a lot from other trainers that will literally start, for want of a better word, patronising their client. And it's like, you don't need to. You know exactly what they mean.
Already you've got them on the back
terminology.
foot. Yeah, already they're going to be defensive. You've got them on the back foot.
You'll build a lot more trust. You'll build a lot more connection the moment you're on their level.
Exactly.
Rather than just kind of... But again, did I used to do that in the past? Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to do it in the past.
Me too. I'm being totally honest with you and open. And
in my early 20s, guaranteed.
Yeah, which is, I guess that was what was I at the time. So late 20s, early 30s, I guess, something like that. But yeah. I'm an old man, by the way. So compared to Pete,
still looking good, mate. Still looking good. Still looking good. Right, we're gonna move on to the next section.
It's time for Top Tips, giving you the knowledge and power for a fitter and stronger you. Let's go!
This next section, Baz, I want your top five tips for maintaining a healthy fitness-based lifestyle. What would you say is your top five? What do you regularly say to clients?
I wish I could say something like really, really out there and exciting and game-changing. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be so boring and probably the same thing that I've been saying ever since I've been in the industry. But I guess the first one is regular exercise. What does that mean? Whatever you enjoy. I know I would always try and recommend, do some kind of resistance-based exercise if you can. Do some kind of CV work if you can. But ultimately, do what you enjoy. So whether it's joining a dance club or going on a walking club, whatever it might be, that's exercise. And if you enjoy that and it gets you out regular, then certainly that's a regular exercise, whatever that may be. Again, don't just listen to what I recommend you should do. It's what you enjoy. What can you do consistently? What you're going to do can you do that for 5, 10, 15 years?
Yes,
that sort of
I regularly get that question still now. What exercises do I need to do? And
I still get that.
You're not training.
Yeah.
So And I'm going to add a little bit more to that and going, find the stuff you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way you're going to find the stuff you enjoy is also by experiencing stuff you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. That's the way I push people from the start. And it's like, you as boring as it sounds, just turn up. How often do you need... You're more likely to turn up if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to build muscle for whatever reason, motivation-wise, but you really enjoy the cardio stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that sounds weird, but just for now, come and do the cardio stuff.
Yes.
And there'll be an epiphany down the line when you're a different person.
Yeah.
And then we'll start going, them deadlifts that you didn't like, you're starting to like them, aren't you? I can tell. And they're like, yeah, I love it now. And it's just natural evolution. So yeah, I think that's a great first one. And as boring as it sounds, regular exercise and doing what they enjoy.
I know. I mean, who would have thought?
A
coach would come up with regular exercise. But like I say, there's nothing. I couldn't think of anything. I wouldn't be able to think of anything game changing or exciting. But it's all, So next one would be like balanced diet.
Yep.
Now the key word being balance. So again, and it comes down to what I've said before in terms of what can you do 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years down the line. What could you do that would be a balance? I mean, the 80-20 rule is always a nice one that people follow. So 80% sort of, strict or health. I hate the word strict. It's not.
I don't like the word strict.
It doesn't have to be. I don't know why I've even said that. But yeah, 80%. Let's say 80% balance, 20% of the stuff that the sweet stuff, or that kind of the savoury stuff, or the things that would be classed as a treat. The glass of wine, the chocolate, the things that you would probably sit down at night time and chill out in front of the TV with.
I try my hardest to not let people use specific words. I know that kind of goes
same as you.
Yeah. So my brother just it was just before Christmas or just after Christmas. He literally went, in Jan, I'm going to be really strict with my diet. And I went, stop, I don't want to use the word strict.
Yeah.
And he looked at me confuffled, and I'm like, strict implies kind of punishment.
Yeah. Like what you're doing is...
You may not see it like that at the moment, but the moment you use the word strict, your brain, let's go back to psychology, is then going to have like a word association. Yeah. Strict means punishment. Yeah. And it's the same with treat. And it's like, the glass of, I'm going to have a treat. And it's like, it's not a treat, it's just a glass of wine.
Yeah, just a glass of wine, yeah.
Where's the balance coming? It's like, apply the 80-20.
Yeah.
If you've had a glass of wine, does that fall on the side of the 80% or the 20%?
Yeah.
If it falls on the side of 80% of my time I'm having a glass of wine, it's like, that's not great.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't have that much for various reasons. There's research.
But again, it's not the end of the world either,
is it? If you have a glass of wine, who cares?
Yeah.
I still regularly get people that are like, I bet you eat dead clean, don't you, Pete? I bet you don't eat chocolate.
Yeah, don't go to my drinks cabinet. For God's sake.
I'm like, I eat chocolate. I mean, in the nicest possible way. That stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
And
I'm not giving up chocolate. You think I am?
For me, it tastes even better when you've got control over it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same effect if you're having it all the time, other than just putting weight on.
Yeah, I'm not having it for breakfast, dinner, and tea. Do you know what I mean?
So
that's the difference. But you're absolutely right. It's like, word association.
Yeah.
Absolutely right with that, Pete. And again, going back to one of the very first questions you asked about, what have you learned with certain clients, and what have you learned over the years? And certainly words that we use is so powerful. I mean, they just slipped out then, and they're things that I don't normally do.
Well, it's probably because your clients still regularly use them.
I guess so.
It's back to the tone thing, just using their language, but over time, slowly, because
I don't even like the word diet.
Again, that's connotation, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But
again,
you say diet to someone, they think, well, okay, I can't eat this. It's can't again. I can't do that, and I can't do. I've
restriction.
Got to put that. Yes, and it's all associated with the word diet. So, I get nutrition works. How's your rather than how's your diet, how's your nutrition? Nutrition is what we all do.
Yep.
Whether you're a fast food takeaway kind of eater or someone who's trying to look at what their nutrition is at the moment, and trying to break it down.
One thing I've tried recently is I've moved away from. I used to use the word healthy eating a lot.
Yeah.
I'm now trying to use the word nourish more.
Nourish.
Because I feel that people respond to it slightly different.
Yeah.
So healthy eating, I get this feeling
what's that?
A lot of people just think veg.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, because if all you eat is salad, your health will deteriorate because you're not getting enough energy, you're not getting enough protein.
No macro content whatsoever.
So when I kind of start to use the word nourish, I think the context is a bit more full. They start viewing that word as a bit more rounded, and they'll think about it overall, opposed to when I say healthy eating, where they just think greenery.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, so I've been trying to just...
Me too. Sometimes, it's, again, going back to our point of changing the way we speak with different people, we're at least we're doing that with this. We're trying to break probably 20 years worth of us using a particular word to describe a particular thing. Now it doesn't work for us anymore. Yeah. It's not working, so I'm going to bin it and I'm going to try this. And it's good that we have that, and I think it's important for everyone to have that ability to swap and change. Well, if that's not working for you anymore, if that word's not working, if that plan's not working, or whatever it might be, it's good to change it. Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got regular exercise, balanced diet. What's for number 3 for you?
Okay, you ready for boring number 3?
Yes.
Okay, get plenty of sleep.
Yes.
Sleep, rest, recovery. It can't be highlighted enough. I mean, in terms of, I'm sure we'll go into motivation at some point, but in terms of, if I'm rested but can't be bothered to train, I can still train. If I'm tired and not motivated, chances are I'm probably not going to train.
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean? It really can just be as simple as that, and that's just because I've not had enough sleep, or I've not had restful sleep, that's a big difference. But you can have 8 hours, but how much of it are you actually asleep or resting? So yeah, you need your body time to recover from previous workouts, from you to detoxify, whatever it might be. That's got to be sufficient. Sleep is the key, and again, I guess probably more so in my life now, getting a little bit older. I probably don't need as much, to be fair, but restful sleep, solid sleep, even if it's 6 hours, but it's a solid 6 hours. I feel great. My energy is high the next day.
There is a sleep specialist called Matt Walker, and he does a TED talk called "Sleep as a Superpower," something like that.
I think I've heard of that, but I've not heard the actual talk.
If you're listening, YouTube Matt Walker TED talk, "Sleep as a Superpower." Some of the stats
I'll get that at the end
that he goes over, and he's a specialist in the field.
Yeah.
Some of the research they've done will scare you
Yeah.
to going to bed at an appropriate time.
Yeah.
Because the impact on your health is huge.
I know.
And it outweighs food and exercise quite substantially. So if I don't exercise that often, if I'm not eating that often versus not sleeping well,
exactly,
that sleep's going to have more of a detrimental effect than the other two, and that blew my mind. Some of the research and stats was just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we've evolved that way. We've evolved thousands of years. Most creatures on Earth have to have some kind of sleep.
Yep.
They have to stop at some point and complete and rest and sleep and recover. So why are we any different? I mean, it'd be nice if we didn't have to sleep at all, because it's a big chunk of life, but that's just that's how we've evolved. That's what we've got to do. So make the most of it.
It's cause and effect, though. There's a balance to life.
Yeah.
When you sleep and you get a good sleep, you wake up feeling rested. You don't get that feeling without it. It's like when you go and train. You don't get that after feeling unless you've done
You've got to do it.
The thing. And it's the same with food. When you eat good food, you get that knock-on effect. I feel really good. You can't get it. The cause and effect nature of it is there for all to see.
Exactly. I mean, God, it's like now I feel I had a great night's sleep last night. I feel really rested. Feel great now. Sat here with you. Feel great. Quite energetic. Quite alert. If I hadn't have had it,
I'm just going to put a
different conversation, I guess.
I'm going to put a downer on it because, as you can probably tell, I've got a bit of a cold.
Oh yeah, you can't help
that. Mate. So I woke up 4 times last night because I couldn't breathe out my nose.
Yeah, well, you've still got great energy, mate. So that's good.
I'm surviving off Lemsip at the moment, but. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get the reward of shite sleep later on. When I'm
a few early nights you'll work.
Nights, I'll catch it up with it. So we've got regular exercise, balanced diet, sleep. 2 more. What have you got for us, Baz?
Yeah, so to coincide with that and something else that we evolved with, adequate hydration.
Yes.
We've got to get the hydration in there. And again, this is something that I've started doing. Well, I say just started, but about 6 months ago. Every single drink that I have now, I always have it in sort of 500 milliliter bottles, and I'll always add something to it. I just found just having water day in day out, you get used to it. You need it to survive. But just to make it more interesting, I've started adding every single 500 milliliter water that I have. I add something into it, like a multivitamin. I've got like a milk thistle supplement that I have, so that's good for the inside, so your digestive system, your liver, etc. Then my next drink will be like a B-Vit. Next one will be, what's the other one that I've got? A fibre.
Yep.
So every single one's flavoured, makes it interesting, but every single one as well has got some kind of like a micronutrient context to it, which is great. There's collagen as well. That's
big at the moment.
Yeah. So I have that in one as well. And again, it just makes it interesting.
That's why you're looking so youthful,
mate.
Thank
you. Yeah, I know.
It's coming through on
that
that
vampire,
skin.
really.
That's coming through. That stuff's flying off the shelves.
I mean, that's adequate hydration.
One thing I find,
I know it's boring, but again, you've got to do it, especially with workouts and coinciding with your body weight, making sure you're getting enough. I mean, minimum, regardless of how big you are, small you are, whatever, try and at least get like a litre and a half as a bare minimum if you can. But
one thing I see with people is that obviously to fully hydrate, you need the presence of salt, sodium. And what I find is people that are on unhealthy diets generally got loads of sodium, loads of salt.
Where's that come from?
But all that crap food. And it's like too much. Yeah. But then when they start following we'll just say a healthy, nourishing diet, it's not enough. And it's weirdly like you probably need to put stuff into your water.
Yeah.
To
which is
add that in, because that hydration doesn't work.
One that I've got,
it doesn't work. Just absorbing just water without the mineral content doesn't really effectively hydrate you as well as it should do. And I always find that people, if you are following a really quite healthy diet, then you probably need to add something into the water.
You're probably missing something, macros, you're probably ticking off. Like, I get this much protein, I get that much carb, that much fat. There's the other little things, the fibre, everything like that.
And
so I'm kind of trying to cover it with that. My main motivation being to make the water more interesting. But
But for me, you're going to be filling holes.
Exactly. I'm also filling up the things that I'm not getting.
I think that's a top tip. I think that's top of the list. That one.
Thank you.
So with hydration, go above and beyond by adding something in that's probably. I think that's a top.
So many of those effervescent tablets. Bang them in there. It's all powder or whatever. It makes it interesting, but you are also covering another base.
I mean, the only thing I'd give extra information for the listener is like, don't just add anything in. Try and spend a bit of time looking at your diet.
Yeah, what do you need?
What do you need? Don't just have a vitamin C effervescence just because it's like it's vitamin C.
Yeah.
If you're getting enough vitamin C, you don't need vitamin C. You don't need it. So it's what's missing.
Yeah.
Try and add that in as a.
So every water is something different for me, which is great, and it makes it interesting. I
think that's a top tip.
Fantastic.
Number 5. Final top tip for a healthy.
Yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier, but consistency. And again, I'll probably touch on it again later. But whatever it is that you say, all those things that you're doing above, it's no good just having one good night's sleep. You've got to consistently get good night's sleep. It's no good having one day of having 3 litres of water, whatever your requirement is. You've got to be consistently doing that. Same with exercise, same with nutrition. They only work if you do it consistently. And as boring as it is, it's so important. You've got to do, even when you don't feel like doing these things, you've got to do them so it becomes habit. And it's a habit change.
So whenever I get a client, let's say they miss a session and they're really downbeat because they've been off on it, I always reframe it and spin it around on its head.
Yeah.
And I always go, do you think you doing that one workout would have made a difference anyway?
Yeah, good point.
And it's always like, on its own, no.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you did that workout on its own, it don't really matter. What we need you to do, you've missed one, which is, is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, let's just start looking over the last week, last 2 weeks, last month.
Yeah, very good point.
How consistent you be, because that counts.
Yeah.
You don't need 2 weeks of hitting every single session.
Yeah.
You need 6 months of where I've been fairly regular. 1 week it was 4, 1 week it was 2, 1 week it was 3, 1 week it was 1.
Yeah.
And it's just like, give me that consistency. So when you miss one, it's not a big deal. Just make sure that it's not consistently being missed.
Yeah, don't be consistently bad.
Exactly
that. There's consistency on both spectrums, isn't there? So,
and I always find reframing it and spinning it does help people.
That's a good way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, like I say, if you set your goals too big, right, this year I'm going to have 5 sessions a week, and then you only do 4, and then you beat yourself up. It's like, well, why don't you just go? You were doing okay before. What else could you? You've got to do what you can do with your current situation, your current lifestyle, your time frame, and whatever it is at home that you do. But I think sometimes your ambition can be too big.
Yep.
And you've probably jumped too quick, too far, too high, whatever it might be. Bring it back a little bit. There's probably nothing wrong with how it was before.
There's a couple of things that I regularly have to do with clients, and it's try and dismantle the all or nothing approach.
Yeah.
So I'm either on it or I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a little bit.
I'm on it.
There's that word balance again. It's like, the plan might be to hit 4 or 5 sessions a week, but that's not the overall objective. And then the second thing is when they first start off, I usually have to bring their goals down a level, and it can be quite humbling. It's like, you're not ready for that. I get the sentiment, and in principle, it does sound easy, but it's not.
No, it's not.
So you're not training at all. You training 4 or 5 times a week for the next. It's like it's a bit silly, and it's gonna demotivate you because your goal set and your mindset would be based on achieving that, and when you don't, your confidence is going to lower. Or if I pitch the goal is to train 2 or 3 times a week opposed to the 4 or 5 initially, because you're not training at all or very infrequent.
Yeah.
When you achieve that, your brain goes, we've done what we set out to do. Your confidence grows, and then that pushes you on to then training the 4 or 5 times a week. So I have to kind of lower people's expectations of themselves.
Yeah,
and at first, it's not very nice for them, because it's like you're not as good as you think you are.
No, exactly. Not
in a horrible way, but lower your expectation.
Yeah. Again, it is the all or nothing mentality. I mean, sometimes, if someone just comes to a class once a week for a month or 2 months, you're already doing more than what you did before. Like, say for example, we're taking on someone who's not exercised for a long time, or coming from kind of a sedentary past or present or whatever it might be. Yeah, just one what difference is that? That's a massive difference to your life, just doing that one session a week. Then maybe we'll look at doing 2, follow it, rather than going from doing absolutely nothing to 5.
Yep.
Or every day I've got to do something. Or if I'm doing 3 sessions a week, I've got to fill in the other days with something because Baz said. No, Baz didn't say. Baz didn't say. Baz, what's achievable at the moment? Yep. What can you do? And if you can do that consistently, if you can do consistently 1 session, what an achievement that is. Yep. To go from nothing to 1 consistently. Not missing that, just not missing that 1, and that's consistency is something that's often overlooked. Don't have good weeks, bad week, good week, bad week, good months. But you don't have to do that. You can consistently rein it in a little bit, bring it back, and consistently do that, and it works. It really does, and just naturally, without you even realising it, you end up doing more anyway.
Yes.
You don't. I don't even have to say anything, or probably you don't.
No.
You just naturally start maybe turning up to the extra session, maybe doing more in between. You just naturally progress onto it without not even knowing where that comes from, that motivation comes from.
I tell clients all the time that you're going to know before me when you're ready to do more.
Yeah.
You'll know.
Yeah.
Because your recovery, your mindset's going to be different.
Yeah.
And you'll be going, Pete, I'm coming in again.
Yeah.
And and at that point, I'll start to hear the way you're saying it, and I'm like, yes.
And we'll be the maestro, just like going out, kind of conducting.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
So, Baz's top tips for a healthy, fitness-based lifestyle. Number 1, get regular exercise. Number 2, sort your diet out, get balanced, try and apply the 80-20 rule. Get good sleep, hydrate, and stay consistent.
Yeah.
Stuff that you already know, but I'm hoping the way we've talked around it,
Yeah.
you're really going to take the kind of main principles from it. Amazing.
It's time for this or that. The game of choices. Let's go.
But this next bit, mate, is just a bit of fun, really. Yes.
Introverts hate fun.
Yes. It's just generally going to give people an insight into who you are a little bit more as a trainer and a coach. Okay. So we're going to play this or that.
This or that. Okay.
This or that. Dead simple. I'll give you 2 things you have to pick, and you have to go with your gut instinct. Okay. Try not to think about it. Gut's going to say. Okay. So I'll give you an example. If I went cats or dogs, pick one. Would
cats.
You took too long then.
But
to
just
think.
Because
poor dogs. How can you not like dogs?
We've got both.
Oh.
So Alex has got dogs that live with her ex, and we've got a cat who lives with us. I was like, oh no, which one do I choose?
So when the dogs hear this back,
the cat's living at home. So I was like, I'll choose the cat.
I can't believe when the dogs hear this back, they're going to be like, "Ho!"
Yeah.
Looking at you like you picked that feline.
I don't blame them. They're going to have a right go at me. Call me every name.
So that's going to be this or that, and obviously I don't want you to overthink it. It's just gut feeling. Go with it.
Well,
next one: tea or coffee?
Coffee.
This one's easy. Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Beach or poolside?
Beach.
Sweet snack or savoury snack?
Sweet.
Always gone for sweet.
That's hard.
Deadlift or squat?
Squat.
Protein or carb?
Protein.
Ooh. Dumbbell or barbell?
Barbell.
Morning or evening workouts?
Ooh, morning.
Always gone for morning.
Yeah.
Pre-workout snack or post-workout meal?
Post-workout meal.
Active rest or complete rest day?
Active rest.
Shake weight or Thigh Master?
What?
The shaky weight.
Oh, shaky weight.
Shaky weight or the Thigh Master?
I want to do shaky weight and look at you in the eyes.
CrossFit beard or yoga man bun?
Well, I'm hoping CrossFit beard.
Yes, he's got the beard rocking out. Leg day or arm day?
Oh, leg day.
Burpees or running?
Running. I enjoy a run.
I enjoy a run as well. So we're going to go back over some of them and just kind of try and delve into your thinking of...
I'll probably forget what I said.
Yeah. Or you retract it. I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
I've changed my mind.
It's dogs.
So let's go back to your active versus complete rest day. What kind of led you to that?
I think I do something most days. So, for example, I do 3 strength sessions a week, and I probably wouldn't do anything else other than that. I wouldn't like train in the morning and then go, I don't know, for a massive long walk in the evening unless I'd somehow planned that. But in between that, I get, like I said earlier, I get out on my bike now. So I've got a mountain bike, I go up the hills, down the hills, a bit of road, a bit of forest. So, and I wouldn't class that as so much as like a heavy workout. It's more, I'd say that as active, to me anyway, as being active. So that's kind of why I chose it. I think I'm more, I'd say 5 or 6 days of the week I'm doing something.
Yeah.
I do have one complete rest day, normally Sunday, sometimes Saturday. So 2, like I say, it depends what crops up. But yeah, I always do something a little active in between my main strength workouts.
See, I very much lean towards active rest days.
Yeah.
And it's
hard to do nothing.
Yes.
Sometimes.
And my thinking around it, when people get DOMS, the way to find out for me if it's really DOMS is go and do some light exercise.
Yeah.
That means just really low intensity,
Yeah.
easy to do.
Yeah.
It should get easier, less painful.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, you've hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And you probably need a bit of proper time off.
Get some magnesium.
Now, for me to have a complete rest day doesn't fully make sense in my head the way I see recovery. Because let's go back to your point 3 on the top tip, sleep.
Yeah.
When do we really recover? In our sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you really want a complete rest, your focus should be like helping yourself kind of sleep well.
Yeah.
And
I find I sleep better as well after.
That's my point.
That's
my point where I'm getting to. It's like, if I just go, I know, let's say I'm out of an active rest day and I'm going to do 15 minutes on a bike, just low level, get my heart rate up a little bit. I get off. Right, I'm just going to bike and stretch. 30 minutes, bike and stretch.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep better because I've just done a little bit.
Yeah.
And then weirdly, that recovery, opposed to me just, I'm going to say sit on my butt all day.
Yeah.
I really don't think that helps me.
Yeah, I'm too much of a fidget anyway.
I think, So I totally agree. Active rest for me. Active rest
I think so. Yeah, for me.
So morning versus evening workouts.
Yeah, I said morning, didn't I?
I think so. Yeah. Yep, you did.
I did. Yeah. But I get it took I think I paused on that one as well because it's if I had to choose, if I've got no choice, I'll do any. If I've got no choice, if I've got a choice, I think I'd rather wake up. I think I need to motivate myself more in the evening, but in the morning I'm a bit more robotic. I'll get up and I'll just do. And that's the only reason. I can't think of any, there's no other benefit to doing it in the morning. They're like, oh, do you burn more calories in the morning? No, nothing like that. I don't care about any of that. It's what motivates me the most. Which one am I going to feel I can do better or I can do easier? And it's the morning. I can get up and I can train.
I've got a feeling that morning trainers versus evening trainers is sometimes dependent on lifestyle factors like food and sleep.
I'm actually an afternoon trainer, if I'm honest. I train about 1 o'clock every day.
Because it's like, why do I like evenings? It's generally because I've had a day where I can fuel right. I've had my breakfast and my lunch. And, I've sorted myself out. I've woke up, whatever you are. And then when I apply myself, I can apply myself really well.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, why do I like mornings is because I can flip that around. I can train, and then I've got all day to get my protein in, make sure I'm hydrated, and recover. So for me, it's like, go back to what you said, when can you get in and train and just make the best out of whether it is be morning or evening?
Members say exactly the same. They'll say, I like to train early to get it out of the way. And I guess we're no different. You know what I mean? We're no different. Get it out of the way. And I've kind of a thing ticked off already, sort of thing. So,
Well, if you want to hear from me, you could always look forward to it rather than get out of the way. Just saying. Look forward to it. Look forward to it. Let's have a look at why deadlift or squat. You went squat, didn't you?
Yeah. I love deadlift as well. And
I love a deadlift.
It's a very functional movement. I think the only reason I chose squat is that the only movement I've ever injured myself on is deadlift.
Okay.
Just back, and that's the only reason I chose it. So out of the two, I think, which one do you fear the most? That kind of thing. And I guess it would be deadlift, but I still really enjoy it. And I'm a little bit more, I kind of take it beyond that and I go, rather than just doing your conventional deadlift, I'm more of a clean person as well, so I like to do heavy cleans.
Yes.
So the mechanics are essentially the same. You've got the initial pull, but I'm just taking that a little bit further and racking it there on the shoulders. I don't really do heavy deadlifts anymore. It's more, I try and go heavier on the cleans instead.
Yeah.
Like I say, mechanically, it's kind of starts off the same, and then it has that element of a little bit more of a technique after that. So
we've got the speed element, haven't you? Which is great for, we'll just say, the athleticism.
Exactly
you really
that.
Get that
exactly
out of it.
that.
I mean, for me, I think it depends on what day you ask me that question. Some days I'm a deadlift man. Some days I'm a squat man. Deadlift, I just like the fact that you can play around with numbers.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can vary your stance. You can just, that I'm going to lift some weight and feel great about it. Where for me, a good amount of kind of squat weight, bit of a back squat just brings that challenge. It's always, I never find back squatting easy. I've never had where I have to focus and push every time I back squat.
Yeah, I rarely do it. It's always front for me. Just where it places the load, it just works with me better. I went for a phase a few years ago where I had a niggly hip injury that just wouldn't go, and the only squat I could do where I didn't feel anything was front, and I just kind of kept with it, and it kind of coincides nicely with what I do with cleans and stuff like that as well, with the racking position with the arms. So front squat's my go-to squat, and I kind of occasionally put back in there just so I don't seize up, because you do, don't you? You do. If you don't do back squat regularly, you don't get that flexibility in your shoulders anymore because you're not doing it. Your body adapts to obviously here.
Yep. And so open it out, get that rotation. Otherwise, you end up just necking the bar, which just never comfortable.
And before you know it, I've got a pad on the bar.
Oh no! No. Awful. Don't do it. Never put a pad on when you're back squatting. Yes, build up your traps. So, I hope you found that a bit more interesting. You found out a bit more about Baz Wakelin and the fact that he will shake a weight rather than fine master it. Interesting.
It's time for daily motivation. Stories, quotes, and ramblings to get you going. Let's go!
So in this next part, we're looking at daily motivation, Baz. So when I contacted you, I asked you to look for your favourite motivational quote that you're going to share with us, and we can dissect a little bit and talk about its kind of impact and how we can apply it into our lives, really. So what is your favourite motivational quote?
The motivational, do you know what? I really kind of struggled with that one because there's so many, isn't there? We all have quotes all the time, but at the moment I actually finished it on the way over here. There's a book by Ross Edgley, if you've ever heard of him. Yeah. Oh, I love that guy. And I was reading about his Great British Swim.
Crazy, innit? The book's amazing.
I just can't get over that guy, honestly.
The book's amazing.
Yeah, really
grab his book.
Yeah, he's got 3 now, I think. This is his second.
Is it The Art of Resilience? The one where he swims around?
Yeah.
Well worth a read.
Oh,
amazing story.
Yeah, really good. And he breaks down the whole prep process. Yeah. I'll get to the quote in a minute. But he breaks down the whole prep process of how he prepares his body for something that, I'm going to be honest, I can't do that. I wouldn't even cross my mind. To swim the entire coast of Great Britain, that's insane. That's really, really a different kind of human. But he does highlight that he's not. He's just a normal guy. So he's followed the principles of resilience. And
this is where I'd like to take this opportunity, Bazco. You could do that.
Yes, thank you.
And with the right coaching. Now, would it be like we're doing it next year? No.
Yeah. But I should rephrase that. We can do anything.
We can do anything.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, not anything. That's a bit of a stretch. But for me...
we can try anything.
That's the beauty of the book that he lays down. I hope he does it in a way that he kind of goes that he's done some stuff that you may or may not be able to do within a period of time. Yeah. So I've not got a swimming background. So am I going to be able to? No.
That's kind of where I was. I'm not particularly a strong swimmer, but yeah.
Where would the starting point would be? I need to be swimming regularly.
Yeah.
And then let's say 2-3 years down the line, I might be up to a point where I'm like,
Yes.
So it's, for me, never say never, but you've got to be understanding the actions and the kind of levels that you'd have to go through. That's what I love about that book.
Me too. I mean, the prep up until that.
Crazy.
I mean, going through the nutrition was 10 to 15,000 calories a day. It was 6 hours on, 6 hours off. Going through all the basic principles we went through in terms of health. So he had to get lots of sleep as well. He had the rest was really important. Throughout the whole journey as well. So I think it was, I'm sure if anyone, I think it's 170 days of 6 hours on, 6 hours off. Yeah. 1 million calories consumed, all that, and the breakdown of the body. He had massive thing in his neck, like it was a.
Or the sea salt had just.
Yeah, that's it. And
broke it down and opened it all up.
It actually gone through the flesh.
Oh.
Stung 100 times, some jellyfish. I mean, the list goes on, but he wasn't ill once. How mad's that? His immune system was still somehow coping with that demand on the body.
Yeah.
And that's because he got the relevant prep, the relevant nutrition, the relevant rest. And he got all that. And he managed to get, and don't get me wrong, he went through pain that we can only imagine, but he achieved it. He achieved something that not many people or anyone else will ever achieve.
I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't read the book, but the bit where he swam with a jellyfish in his face and he didn't know.
Got a tentacle on his face.
And he didn't know he had that tentacle stuck to his face and it was continually stinging him for hours. That was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think at one point in the book he said that he was stung, I think he said 12, just on his face, 12 times of these jellyfish. So coming back to your quote, there was a quote in his book and it said, "Your reasons to continue must be bigger than your reasons to quit." And I thought about that, and I thought that's amazing. And you can flip it the other way as well. Your reasons to quit must be bigger than you, and you can use it both ways as well. And it was so amazing to think that your reasons to continue. So there must be so many times when he was doing that where you think, why am I doing this? Why the hell am I putting myself through this? I'm done. Do you know what I mean? But he didn't. So his reason to continue was bigger than his reason to quit. And I think if you've got that. And you've got that, so bringing it right back down to the level of going to the gym, you can use that, and it just makes sense.
I mean, that mindset that he has built, let's just take the 170 days continual training. Let's just take that.
Yeah.
How many people have not the physicality to do it, but the mindset to do it?
It's all mindset, and he goes into that as well.
It's just that for me is absolutely incredible. And you know that quote what you've just used, the reasoning of it, that's going to be his biggest push.
Well, he brings up the general governor theory as well, which is like essentially a theory within it's like a part of our brain that will say, no, that's enough. It's a threat to the organism, a threat to you, the threat to you existing, and there'll be a point in the brain that stops you going any further before you really hurt yourself. And again, that can be manipulated and molded, and he looks into that. There's so many elements that he looked into in terms of like the sports psychology of it. A lot of it done in Loughborough as well, which is obviously where I live, which is great. That's great to get a mention on there. Yeah, I'm just on the doorstep, which is great. They've made massive steps towards that. But I guess if anyone wants to look at his work, he's done a marathon pulling a car.
Yep,
was one of them. What else? He swam from somewhere to somewhere. I can't remember the countries now. Between the two, pulling a log.
He's got a YouTube page as well, which is well worth watching.
Definitely. If you want to be motivated, I mean, if we moan about being cold, you see what he's done in the cold.
Yeah.
If you want to moan about being exhausted, you see what he's done in the water. You know what I mean? You want to talk about pain. You see what he's done in terms of pulling a car for 26 odd miles.
I mean, coming back to that kind of mind connection to pain, one thing I always kind of, when you get a client up to a high level and they're pushing and you do get that kind of, we'll just say pain response where your muscles are burning. One thing I like to do is try and make clients conscious to the fact that, let's say we're doing a wall sit and your legs start absolutely burning and then your brain goes, get up, stop, it's hurting. I always like to point out when you stand up, how quickly does that pain dissipate? It just disappears.
It does.
And it's within a second or two. So my point was like, what was that pain you was experiencing? Was it pain, or was that what you've just been talking about, Baz? That point of your brain going, I tell you what, make him uncomfortable because this ain't good for us because it's going to create too much damage.
Central governor theory, yeah.
And it's a fine line.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's not as easy. Are you experiencing discomfort?
Yes.
Are you experiencing pain?
Yes.
And there's a
blurring of.
There is, yeah. And I think that's and again. The body's response to that is there, and is a very good reason for it to be there. If you don't, you will produce the relevant hormones to stop you from doing something, so that you don't tear your muscle away from your bone. It is there for a good reason, but
that's one of my favourite anatomy facts ever. So I used to teach anatomy, as you know.
I know,
college.
You're very good.
And one of the things I can't remember the full ins and outs. Muscles can produce enough force that they could just tear themselves off the bone. That can happen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
how do we limit that?
Yeah.
Well, your brain limits it. And that's one of the control measures.
It'll
make sure that, like, don't fucking hurt yourself, because we've got the ability to be a lot more powerful and a lot stronger than you can even comprehend.
That's an amazing way of looking at it.
That's the part where you're kind of like, there's a line there. We don't want you to hurt yourself, obviously, because we need you regularly training the consistency. Being injured is not helping that. But there's a point where if you can master that mindset, your fucking strength is huge.
Yeah, our tolerance for pain is massive. If we have to exercise it.
Yes.
We have to expose ourselves to it. And the majority of the time, you using that again, the wall sit analogy. It's a lot of the time you'll stand up early and then think, I could have carried on actually.
Yeah.
Straight away you'll think
I bottled out there.
Yeah, I could have.
It was uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong.
There was only 20 seconds left. I could have lasted 20 seconds. It's one of those. But something told you to stop and you stopped. Trust me, if your body really cannot do any more, you will stop. It's...
Well, that's the other thing.
There's a difference, the brain and the body type
I'm
connection.
Not advocating this, because I'm not a big believer in always like pushing yourself to absolute brinks. It's needed occasionally to break through plateaus.
Yeah.
But I can remember it was years ago. I was doing some sprint training on a track. And after about 3 rounds, it was horrendous, Baz. So 400 metre track, it was broken up into 50 metre blocks.
Yeah.
You sprint 50, jog, walk back, sprint 100, come back.
Yeah.
And just keep adding rounds till you do 400. They then give you a small, I think it was a 2 minute
capacity. That one, that's a good one.
2 minute window rest, and we did it 2 or 3 times. After the 3rd time I was doing it, I was just on the floor. And I remember it was one of my it was one of the like PE coaches. It was like a school thing that we went to, and one of the coaches was like, "Get up." I was like, I can't. I was only a young lad. But I just remember I was like, I can't get up. And I knew that I'd pushed my body to the point where my brain was going, get up.
Yeah.
But at a point my body was just like, we can't.
You wanted to get up, I'm
yes,
sure.
And it's that's that weird reversal. So normally your brain's going, stop, and your body's kind of going, do we really need to?
Yeah, that's a good
example, You get to another point where your brain will kind of go on then. And the body's like, nah. We're done.
Nah, not today, mate.
I love that. Again, going back to that mind-body connection.
Yeah.
There is so much power in your body and your mind. You just have to tap into it.
Yeah.
And you have to train it.
And that's exactly what he did in preparation. I don't want to I'm selling his book here. I should be on a... But
we're on a commission. We're not on a commission, but Ross, if you sell a few more, we'd like to know, please. Or maybe just sign my copy. That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, I've got all his books. They're great. But he's... again, he really, really taps into that, because he realised that the majority of what he's going to be doing is going to become a psychological barrier. It's going to be every day. He's going to be facing that. Obviously, the physical and nutritional side of it is paramount, but it's the mental side.
So, moving on from that, or staying with the motivation, how do you keep yourself motivated? And that could be just for business, for fitness, for just in life in general. What kind of works for you?
This is a real tough one, because even the word motivation now is kind of it's changed for me. It's kind of something that it's a construct, I guess. It doesn't really exist. It's a fleeting force, isn't it? So again, if we bring it back down to the level of like a new member, they're motivated. I want to do 5 sessions a week. Give me that nutrition plan, and that motivation will last. But then once that's done, where do you go from there?
I call that the honeymoon period.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's the honeymoon period.
It's all good at that first stage.
Yeah. It's like when you first go, you're first in a relationship. Oh, it's great. The hormones are kicked in. It's brilliant. Everything's on fire. And then before you know it, I hope Alex isn't listening to this. And then before you know it, you're just in a relationship. Yep. And again, it's that word again. It's consistency. You consistently do something, and it's so. It's more of it's habits and behaviours. Yeah. So if you do the same habit and the same behaviour, and you do that consistently, that's kind of, in my eyes, that is what motivation is. So if you want that force, you've got to have the behaviour and you've got to have the habits in place.
Yeah.
That becomes motivation. So if someone says to me, what motivates you to train? Well, nothing. I'm not motivated to train. It's just become that much of a habit now. It's part of my behaviour. So. Yeah, it is. In terms of how do I keep. There'll be days where I don't want to do it, and I do it. There'll be days where I do want to do it, I'll do it. It's those.
I see motivation as a tool, And the way I use it is a complete tool. And I'd always explain this tool that you have to make it every time. And when you've used it, it's done.
Yeah.
It's single use tool.
Yeah.
And the best motivators are always intrinsic. So like deep within you, why are you doing certain things? And this can change.
Yeah.
So whenever you're struggling like, these habits, and I know I should keep doing them, look inwards and you'll find like just different motivations come to the surface. I'm doing this because you know what? Right now, I need that stress relief. Or right now, I just want to go and enjoy myself. Or I actually want to look physically better. I do not like the way I look in the mirror. And you'll see some people in society tell you, I'd be happy. No, if you're not happy where you are or the way you look, don't be fucking happy.
Yeah.
Don't be stuck in there. Use that as fire to create your tool.
Yes.
And go and use it.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
when it's used up, and it will get used up, you will fall flat again, you then need to create the tool. And what I find a lot of people use, they'll use extrinsic, like external motivators, and they're shit. Yeah. They're useful in their own right, but as a main driver, they're crap.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrinsically motivated. I've never been motivated by trinkets, as we say, like and again, that's not to say that it's wrong, because it's not. It's if it gets you trained, that's fantastic. I've never really been motivated by the trinket side of thing. It's more
value effort.
An internal thing.
I value effort. It's like weirdly,
in all its forms.
Weirdly, again, it plays into what society does at the moment with kids, that everyone's a winner kind of thing. Every time I've ever won something and I've not tried, there's no importance to me.
Yeah.
That's happened to me as a child, a teenager, as an adult. I have won with no effort. Now, I've lost at stuff, but when I've reflected on it, I'm like, that was everything I had.
Yeah.
I get such a good
That's a win.
Buzz off that feeling that I have applied my sheer will and effort, and that was me.
Yeah. You couldn't have given any more.
Yeah, and I think that's that intrinsic versus extrinsic. Don't do stuff for the shiny badge. The shiny badge is nice.
Yeah.
But I'll guarantee the moment you get given it and you've not earned it or you don't deserve it, it won't look that shiny.
Again,
and your motivation suffers.
Where'd you go from there as well? So you've achieved that thing. Now what? Do you have to have another thing?
Well,
that's the thing, isn't it? You're like if you're extrinsically motivated.
Yes.
It's like I've done the show, or I've done the comp, or whatever it might be. Do you then need something else, or are you just going to stop? And that's the thing, isn't it?
I mean, weirdly, I have heard of research. I can't remember where I heard it. I can just remember it where they took a bunch of kids. And they praised the ones that won for winning. And then they monitored their effort and their intensities on the next event.
Yeah.
And it went down, thinking that winning was easy. The other group of kids, they praised effort. And what they found is that they applied effort again.
Yeah.
So when you do give a reward and you value the reward, effort usually gets worse. And therefore you're going to get worse. What's that going to do for your motivation in the long run? I can't imagine that being good.
That makes sense. That completely makes
sense. So it's, again, look inward, praise your effort, and just make sure you're...
Exactly. Yeah, that's motivation to me. It's I guess doing the basics consistently again, getting into that mindset that we've just spoken about. But yeah, it's a great topic, motivation is. It really is.
I love it.
And how many times do we hear it in a day? I'm not motivated at the minute. I don't know why I'm motivated. And it goes on and on and on. And again, I go back to the 5 basics of what I said. You get an adequate sleep. Are you sedentary most of the time?
Yep.
Are you getting adequate hydration? Always tick off the basics before anything.
I think people really misinterpret the basics for not mattering as much as they do. So let's take food.
Yeah.
Let's say I get a client that's really demotivated. You'd ask around it, because being demotivated is fine, by the way. You don't always have to be hyped up.
You're not. I'm not.
No. Sometimes I can't be asked. A lot of the time I can't be asked. It's then the stuff that you put around it.
What do you do about it? Yeah.
But my point would be, like, if you've not eaten that well and your energy levels are low, what do you think your motivation is going to be like?
Yeah.
Let's say I feed you well and I meet your requirements. How are you going to feel about this? You're probably going to feel different.
Yeah.
Same with sleep. Let's say you have poor night's sleep, and then I go, we need to do this hard task. We're going to have this hard workout. Like you were saying earlier, you're just going to be like, I ain't got that. Yeah. Your brain is literally going to go, I ain't got that.
Yeah.
Where if you've had a really good night's sleep, you've ate really well, you're hydrated, And then I go, see this mountain? We're climbing it. You might go, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But you'll probably go, let's just see what happens.
It's easy to accept, isn't it? You can accept it more. You can take it. You can just take it in.
That, for me, when people are suffering from motivation, one thing I try and tell clients especially is like, set yourself up for success. And that is the basics that you've been talking about, Baz. Just like, do these basics.
I know,
and given time,
it is.
Given time, you're going to be motivated or easier to create your own motivation when you need it.
Yeah.
But just bear in mind that it's not always there and it don't need to be always there.
Doesn't always need to be there.
What would you say to like a client was struggling for motivation? What would be your go-tos?
I guess it's the same thing. I'm no different. I'm no different to a client. And again, I'll always tick off the basics. And then I guess, if they're struggling with motivation, it would be a case of, well, what one little thing can you do that will get you closer to doing what it is you need to be motivated for? A small task. And then they do it and make sure they're congratulated for it. And then, again, you build up from that. But, it's in terms of... I don't know how you feel, but it can become exhausting when you're just, motivate me.
Yeah,
no. It doesn't come from me.
Again, that's the problem. That's extrinsic.
If
you're relying on me, what's going to happen the day where what I say just doesn't quite hit the mark?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to motivate you, but it don't hit the mark. It's not going to have the effect. And you'll be like, oh, don't work, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, you should need me as a secondary.
Yeah.
I top up your motivation. The extrinsic backs up your intrinsic. That's what I always mean. I always push clients towards it, like, have a deeper look within yourself. Why are you doing this? And there's going to be loads of reasons, which is fine, but they have to be driven from your kind of soul.
Yes,
and then you add a bit of external motivation from a friend, a shiny prize.
Yeah.
If you look at work, business, money, whatever it may be, they're secondary, but your primary's got to come from your heart and
it is. What's your meaning for this? Why are you doing it? It goes back to your whys, doesn't it? As well. What is your why?
Yeah.
And it goes back to the Ross quote as well, I suppose, isn't it?
I like that.
Your reason to continue.
I love that. I love that book. Obviously, that's what we think about motivation. We'd love to know what kind of keeps you motivated. So, if you've got any kind of special bits of knowledge or advice, let us know in the comments, or you can always email me. All the links are in the description, etc. Let us know what motivates you as well. So that's the end of today's episode. Just want to thanks to Baz. Thanks, mate, for coming in and sharing your insights and words of wisdom. Found it really insightful. If you're local to the area, Baz, we're at your Loughborough
based. We're in Loughborough, so we're in the Loughborough Town Centre. Key Performance Fitness is the name of our gym. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, just those two, to be honest with you. Please give us a follow. If you want to message me, you're more than welcome to. I'm always try and help.
So Key Performance Fitness based in Loughborough. So if you're kind of Leicester way, check Baz out. Hopefully you found some of the themes and context in today's seminar really useful. Look out for the next episode coming up. I've got some other guests coming in to chat about different things, including High Rocks is my next guest. That'll be awesome to listen over. As always, keep yourself active and have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of the Witness the Fitness Podcast.